How's it going on, everybody? Welcome to the Two Degrees Podcast, brought to you by the Play On Foundation. And today's guest is one that I've been really eager to speak with because just knowing that we're from the same Toronto community and where she has taken it is definitely something to not only admire, but to also just be inspired after. So everybody, Kiana Madeira, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. That was amazing.
No,
You're so. Oh my gosh, your hair.
yeah, still going at it.
It
I'm
is beautiful.
I'm only keeping this hair to make you jealous. That is actually the only purpose of that's
I
it. Just
cut my hair like it's like short now. Like I cut it and I look at pictures and I'm like, oh man, God, my hair was so long. So seeing your hair, I'm like, wow, your
uh
hair's so long. It looks so healthy.
I hope so. Um, like that's the hope, that's the goal, but to be honest, it's really hard to take care of this thing in the truck. So I try my best
Yeah.
to just not get it as dirty as possible. That's my only healthcare regimen right now.
I get that. Also, like respects for living in a truck because that sounds very minimalistic, which
Yeah.
sounds like would be refreshing, but also super challenging.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. You hit it right on the head where it's like that is I think you also would reflect the sentiment to that same degree where it's like trying to just get back to yourself and not need as many things as you once thought you had or you thought that you once needed. So there's that, and then there's like the trials of actually being in it in the moment where it's like, for example, where we're parked, we're running off of solar power and we have a generator, and then right before I hopped on the call, the generator kind of gave a little sound that I'm not too happy with. So after
Um,
this call, I'm gonna give it another shot and hopefully it turns on because if it doesn't turn on, then it's gonna be an interesting remainder of this journey.
oh man, well, I'm praying for that to turn on. That's
Yeah,
eventful.
yeah. So like if that doesn't, but it's gonna make for great content, right? So that's gonna be the
Exactly.
upside to it. So what's
Yep.
going on with you? How you been? What's new in the world of Kiana?
I've been good. I'm in New York right now with Lavelle. We just got back. We were in Toronto, visiting family for the holidays, which was
Hmm,
nice. And yeah, we're back in New York. I'm training right now. I'm shooting my next movie is shooting at the end of March in Poland, and it's called Perfect Addiction.
nice.
So I'm playing an MMA trainer slash fighter. So I just started. Tomorrow's my first training session for martial arts, like mixed martial
Way,
arts.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm like fitness training 3 times a week and fight training 3 times a week. And like, it's going to be a really big challenge, like in terms of discipline, but something I need, which I'm excited
Yeah.
for.
So that leads to one of the questions that I want to bring up where I was like, you and Laval like have been going hard at the gym,
Yep.
especially before the holidays. Like you guys were posting videos and stuff of you guys just going crazy. Is this for the role or was that a lifestyle choice that you were already into?
We were already into it. We work with our trainer, Jerry Joseph, and we've been like training with him, but not super consistently. So now I think is an opportunity to like have an end goal in mind. So we're going to be very like I'm training for the project, but Lavelle's pretty much acting like he's also training for the project. Like every time I go, he's
Nice.
but we've been training like we've been trying to make it a lifestyle thing before, but we were kind of like, we'd work out like maybe twice a week, go really hard, and then like miss a week and go back. But now it's like there's a reason to be really scheduled and disciplined. So
Hmm.
I think we'll notice a big difference this time around.
Can I ask then, like,
Yeah.
what your goal is with working out, if you have a goal, or is it that you have what in your definition is your reason for working out?
That is a great great question. I've been working out like probably for like 8 years, I would say. I grew up really athletic and through high school I played sports. So that was mostly for fun. But then in my early 20s, I dealt with a lot of body image issues and I started to become kind of obsessed with like weight loss and working out. So my relationship with food and my relationship with exercise has changed so much over the course of my life. And now I'm very grateful because I think I'm finally at a place. I feel like I'm finally at a place where I'm working out because it's not just an aesthetic, like it's not just to look a certain way. I do want to feel stronger and I want to just, be more agile, be flexible, like notice that I can lift things, I can lift my body weight. And the main thing that I want to get out of working out this time is kind of going at it with a childlike curiosity and
Hmm.
joy. Because I think it could be so rigorous and it could be so intense that it's easy to be hard on yourself, like to see results and, push yourself in a way that, in my experience in the past, has had negative
Hmm.
implications. So this time around, I just really want to experience the joy of like, feeling connected to my body and like just getting strong.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
first thing that popped into my head when you said like childlike curiosity when it comes to working out was, do you watch Friends?
No, I
Oh,
don't. I should.
I'll send you a clip, but there's an episode where Rachel started running and then Phoebe was like, "Hey, can I come?" And then so they're at the park ready to go, and then Phoebe, the way she runs like a child, and she does it on purpose because it's like, why else would you want to run? Running's boring. Why not make it fun? So that was the first thing that I thought of when it came to that.
Wow, I actually love that mentality.
And
That's
you get
so
a
cute.
and you get like a better workout that way too, because your entire body is involved. So it's
You're like
interesting.
flailing. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
So then one thing to like I wanted like just to share in regards to that is like I feel, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, where it's like I feel actors should just get in the gym to get to know their body, because being able to move as the character is one of the things that I find is very crucial, that a lot of actors, especially those starting off or those who haven't had like conservatory training, they miss out on, is the body work.
Yep.
Where to create a character fully, you also have to embody them. So then, what if this character all of a sudden has a slouch? Now, imagine
Yep.
going to work and you have to put on that slouch and you're working like a 10-hour, possibly 16-hour day in that position. Your body's going to ache. So then, it's going to the gym with the purpose of knowing how to move your body in those situations.
Mm,
So
yes.
that's like
Yep.
that's been
Yeah.
the
Uh,
thing with me.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I love yoga too.
Hmm.
Because yoga, I think it's like similar to working out. Well, it is like a form of working out, but it also makes you connect your body, your mind, your body, and your breathing.
Yeah.
Because like for me, when I'm like if I'm like lifting weights, or I don't know, sometimes I hold my breath, and I find like we know as
Hmm.
actors, like we're not gonna actually like experience these circumstances and really feel connected to our characters if we're not breathing.
Yeah.
So to be able to, like you said, like connect with your body and also breathe through things and kind of like have a sense of surrender at the same time, it's not easy. So yeah, definitely I think it's like kind of part of our job to do those things because we could get to set and all of a sudden, like when I started acting, I always felt like I don't know what to do with my hands. I was always like, I don't know what to do with my hands. And then like I learned that it's because I didn't feel connected with my body and I wasn't
Hmm.
actually embodying the character because as a character, I wouldn't be thinking about what to do with my hands. But
Yeah.
because I had that disconnection, it was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, when I was like really into trying to figure myself out as an actor, and so I'm thinking, oh, I gotta go to the gym for this. I gotta make sure I have this routine down. I gotta, just eat, read, sleep, gym, and then repeat when I'm training as an actor. And like one thing that I, for some reason, became self-conscious about was the only reason why I run is so I can kind of have some kind of form when I run. Because
Mm.
if you haven't ran for a while and then it's your first day back, you clearly look like you're in pain and you're struggling. And I'm thinking where it's like, oh, if I'm on set and they ask me to run, am I going to be able to do it or am I going to look like I never ran in my life? So it's like I'll go for a run like once a week just to make sure my joints still work and it looks like a decent gait, if you will.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. That'd be like so awkward if you get to say you can't run. You're just like, you look awkward on camera. You're like out of
Yeah,
breath. You're like dying. Like, I'd be
yeah.
like, I'm so sorry. Where
Oh,
we're young.
oh man. Oh, and there's this is another fun thing that I used to do as well was like I'll try and recite a monologue or sing a song while I'm running just so I
Mm-hmm.
can like control my muscle in that aspect and with respect to that make sure I have enough breath in me to deliver lines. And I actually
Yeah.
got that from this interview from Beyonce where she was like how when she was a kid back in like Destiny's Child days, her dad would make her run a mile and sing a song just so when she's on stage, she's not gonna find she's out of breath, and that's how she's able to do what she does on stage is because of like the mentality like that. So a part of my workout mentality is Beyonce inspired.
Yeah. That makes sense though. I mean, yeah, especially being a singer on stage and like dancing like she does. That's why a
Hmm.
lot of singers have to lip sync
Yeah.
because they can't do. Wow.
Yeah. Oh man.
Wow.
So what's going on in your world? I'm curious in regards to just what it's like balancing out everything. And I'm alluding to just like that balance and mental health, where how do you keep everything together? Because especially since you've taken off in regards to the shows that you've done and the following that you've garnered and all the press and all the shoots that you're doing, like I can only imagine, what's going on in your head in regards to keeping balance and keeping that mental health alive.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, things definitely got like super busy in 2021 last year, with like Fear Street coming out. And um, yeah, I mean, there were challenges like with the Instagram followers, at the same time, I feel like, oh, it's just a number. But then also, I started like, there's just like the comments I think were like really like getting to me. Like there was this one photo, for example, like this kind of messed with my mental health. This is why I think of it. But there's this one photo shoot I did where like the photographer was like, oh, you should take some pictures like covering your eye or like just do a pose like that. And I was like, oh, I didn't think anything of it, right? And so like I posted it shortly after Fear Street came out when I like kind of got a lot of followers, and there's so many comments on that photo. Like it's in a slide. So I'm wearing like a red dress and I'm like just normal in the first slide, and then you slide over and then there's one where I'm covering my eye, and so many people were like, she sold her soul, that's Illuminati, like wow, that's so sad, she was such a good Christian girl. I was like, and like this was months ago at this point, so now I'm like, that's funny, but at that time I was like, it actually like was so hard to deal with. I was like, I felt like I needed to comment back to everyone being like,
Oh
what are you
wow.
talking about, and I was like talking to my publicist and she's like, don't address it, it's fine, like let it pass. But I was like, damn, like
Hmm.
this is, I guess, my first little taste of this kind of like negativity that comes with fame and people thinking they really know you based off of something so like
Mm.
trivial. And I was in Boston with my sister at the time, and Lavelle was there visiting, and we went out to dinner. And I remember just like my mind was so focused on that. I couldn't even be present with like the people I love.
Mm.
And I was like, damn, this is like a little taste of the challenges that come with fame, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, some things that really helped me were one, talking to the people that I was with, talking to people I love, so they can kind of like, ground me and be like, delete your app right now. Like I always delete my
Mm.
Instagram app. I
Mm.
really limit my Instagram because I think Instagram's a trap.
Yeah.
Like like I go on it to check it and like reply to messages, but then I delete the app because Instagram and social media and mental health is like it's bad for your mental health for me
Mm,
personally.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing I do. Definitely limit my time on social media. Try not to get too caught up in news. And I'm not sure if you know, but I have like I would say pretty strong faith. I believe in Jesus. I'm Christian. So like my faith is so grounding to me and really,
Mhm.
really gives me such a positive perspective and just reminds me to always be compassionate, always come from a place of love, including to myself, which I think for me, mental health, my struggles with mental health are often like negative self-talk. So being reminded to have compassion for myself, like through my faith, really, really helps me a lot. Yeah, and I think yeah, just voicing, like having conversations, you know, with friends, family, and loved ones, and not feeling like you have to um like be in your head all the time really, really
Yeah.
helps me. Yeah. How about you?
No. Um, well, I wouldn't say I'm at the level of fame where you are in regards to the notoriety and everything. So it's like
Mhm.
managing my social media has definitely been easier.
Mhm.
Um, but like even with respect to that, where I remember I was at this point where I was like, I'm just gonna get off social media.
Yeah.
And then just as I was literally going to deactivate my account and delete the app, like my manager messages me, he's like, hey, congrats on getting verified. And I was like, oh, interesting. So now that I have that verification thing, now I look at it and I'm like, what does this mean? I have
Yeah.
I have this check mark. And then like I remember when I first got it, so many people came to me. It's like, hey, how did you get verified? How did you get verified? I was like, I don't know. I don't know. And then all of a sudden it became people actually looked at that check mark. And I was like, okay,
Mhm.
maybe I can't just delete it. Now I think I have to present myself differently on here in a way, and I can't say or post things that might offend people. And then
Yep.
I went down that rabbit hole of like trying to post just inspirational, motivational things, and then just doing that kind of messed with my mental health because it made me believe that everything was okay when in reality everything was not okay. So yeah, it's funny because like I was definitely gonna come to this question with you in regards to social media because in regards to the people in my like close degree of separation, your following count skyrocketed, and I was
Mhm.
curious to know just like what was that like in regards to when it first started going up? Oh, it's still going up. Oh, now all of a sudden there's a lot of attention on you. There's a lot of eyes on you. Where did your head go in regards to that?
Hmm. Hmm. It's a good question. They kind of like they. I think the production and oops, hold on, sorry. One sec. My bad. The production I think did a really good job at like preparing us for that because
Hmm.
they have a thing called the Netflix effect, which is like actually oddly a thing where they say like certain projects on Netflix. If Netflix like really wants a project, I think. I mean, I don't know if it's because they wanted to, but certain projects on Netflix like have the potential to kind of blow up,
Yeah.
and they were kind of telling us like, you know, this movie's going to be really big, and it's you know, some of the writers of Stranger Things and some of the cast of Stranger Things, and like, so there were some things I think that were in place that I was like, I think this might be pretty big, so it didn't really surprise me that much,
Hmm.
which kind of weird to say, but like in a way I'm really grateful because I think we all have the power to have this perspective too. I think I did kind of just see it as like a number changing. I have this perspective with money too. Like when I look like at my bank account online, no matter what the number is, to me, I'm always like, it's so weird. It's just like a number in my phone. Like, is it a real tangible thing, you know? And I think Instagram followers are like that too. Like, yeah, there's this number beside my profile now, but like, what does it really mean? You know?
Yeah.
I think about it like that, and I'm like, so it didn't like hit me that hard, but I do feel a responsibility that comes with having more followers in terms of like what I choose to speak about and like I'm much more intentional now with what I post. And
Hmm.
with like the pandemic and everything, I like in the last probably couple of months, for me, I feel like I haven't even posted as much as I would want to because everything's very political. And
Yeah.
so I just don't even touch that. I'm like, it's hard sometimes, but like, I'm like, I think, oh, I don't even know what to say. Sometimes I
Mm.
don't even know what to say because I'm like, I know what I do say is going to have an effect and
Yeah.
is going to have consequences. So I think I'm in the spot now where I'm navigating like, yes, it's a number on a screen, but also can even affect your career.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing about being an artist, right? Like Lavelle and I were talking about this today. Like you can be an artist and you can make like no money, or you can be an artist and you can make a ridiculous amount of money. You can be an artist and not be famous, or for some reason you can be an artist and be like the most famous person in the world and like everyone knows your name. So it's that responsibility that comes with it. And yeah, it's kind of like I'm always challenging myself, like, what am I really trying to do with my platform? What am I really trying to do with this responsibility? Why have I been given this responsibility? All these things. So I'm working it out, which is why I'm like, I think I'm like kind of silent right now. But these are things that, like, to answer your question, I didn't really think about before. But now
Yeah.
that I have like, more followers, I'm like, damn, you gotta go deep with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You brought up an excellent question in regards to the why do you have all these followers, and that's like your journey, and you probably already have gone down that self question of why, but then now I'm curious as to the how, because in regards to all the hard work that you've done, your whole family, your siblings are also just as artistic. So I want to go back. I want to go to what what that household was like when you were growing up. Was it always that artistic, or did that just happen?
Hmm. Yeah, I think now that you mention it, like, so my parents had my brother and I pretty young. My mom was when my brother was born, he's a year and a half older than me. My mom was 18 and my dad was 20. And then when they had me, my mom was 20 and my dad was 22. So they were really young. And my sister was born 9 years after me. So growing up, like my parents, they have a really young energy, and they're definitely artists themselves. Like my parents are very, very creative. My mom writes. My dad was into acting when he was a kid. He also like he can like rap and do lots of things musically. And although they're not professionals, growing up in our household, we were always like, we're very loud, we're very expressive. There's always loud music playing. Like even as a kid, I could sleep through like anything. Like loud music was bumping in like 3 in the morning. So like it was always kind of like that artistic energy at home, which I think is definitely why we're all pretty artistic and at least feel that we have that support
Hmm.
to uh, really, chase our dreams in that
Yeah.
way. Definitely, I think because of the way my parents raised us.
Nice. And
Yeah.
then was it always acting? When did the acting bug kick in?
For me,
Yeah.
yeah. So when I was a really shy kid, and
Hmm.
when I was 5, I watched Grease with John Travolta, and I like fell in love with John Travolta. I like had the biggest
Nice.
crush on him, and then I was like, how can I meet him and marry him? I need to like be in a movie like this with him. And I was 5, and then I was like, I told my parents, like, I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor. And they were like, okay, like, we'll see. We'll see, like, when you get a little bit older. And I was like, okay. And I just really was, like, obsessed with this thought of, like, marrying John Travolta. And I remember I was in a grocery store with my parents, and he was on the cover of one of the magazines. And Grease was shot in, like, the 70s.
Yeah.
So this was the 90s. He was not the same as he was in. And I saw, like, a recent photo of him, and I was like, I mean, hey, John Travolta is always handsome, but he was older. And and he was already so much older than a 5-year-old. But the logic. I was like, damn. So I don't think I'm gonna marry him. But for some reason, like, I never stopped saying and telling my parents that I wanted to be an actor. So when I was 10, my brother was into hockey, and my parents were asking me, like, Nikane's doing hockey. What do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to be an actor. I've been telling you guys. And they're like, okay. So they signed me up with, like, a small agency in Toronto, and I, like, auditioned for commercials. Never got them.
Yeah.
Like, I used to audition, like, those, like, mini pop kids, those, like, and I was
The
like,
ones, the clean versions of hip hop songs, that one? Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah.
I used to audition for those all the time. I never got it. Like,
Oh.
I would pay to see one of those auditions now. Like, I was probably so awkward in them. Like,
So what
and
did
I
you have to
remember,
do in it though? Did you have to like sing clean versions or radio edit versions of these rapper songs?
yep, yep. You would sing, like, pop songs or, like, rap songs, and, like, you'd be in a room of, like, other kids, and everyone's, like, trying to outshine each other.
That's so
And
funny.
I know it's very competitive for young kids,
Yeah.
but yeah. And then so that was when I was 10. And then when I was 11, actually, I booked my very first job. I booked was these educational films for American schools, teaching them about Canadian history, geography, and like, culture.
Hmm.
And we have DVDs. So I was like 11. It's like those schools, like those videos you would watch in school,
Okay.
But that was my first thing I ever booked. And I was like, wow, like, I booked a job. Like, I can really do this. And then when I was 13, I signed with a bigger agency in Toronto, Noble Kaplan Abrams. So I was really young signing there. And then still was, like, auditioning, like, really didn't book anything, like, solid until I was 18. But all throughout high school, I, like, took a lot of classes. I would, like, that was, like, my thing. I would, like, my parents would take me to acting class, like, so many acting classes. And I think, like, I just really, I started because I love John Travolta. And then, like, through the classes, and, like, Louis Bomander, I took so many classes with Louis Bomander. I really started to learn, like, the craft of it, and fell in love with it through that
Shout
way.
out Lewis.
Shout out Louis.
Yeah, no, he's definitely given me some sound advice myself. So it's like I love seeing him on the LB Studios on Instagram too, and then just seeing who's coming out of there and what they're doing
Yeah.
now. And it's really fun just seeing a lot of familiar faces getting their shots. So gotta shout out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Now, so your parents got you in acting class at a young age. Now I'm curious if any of those lessons stuck or what those lessons were, because my opinion of acting class for kids is they don't need it. I genuinely believe kids don't need acting class. You just gotta let them go to set and just tell them what their circumstances are and just let them play. So in your opinion, like what was acting class for you as a child?
I agree. I totally agree. I wasn't, like, that young. I think when I started my first class, when I was 10, 11, I didn't take class. I think I started at 13, which to
Okay.
me, it's like that, like, awkward, like, puberty transitioning time. So I don't think for me at that time, I could have just shown up to set and, like, been as free as
Mm,
a child would be. I think it was already at that age where I was, like, a little bit insecure, and, like,
gotcha.
starting to get in your head and stuff. But there were classes that I took when I was young that I really didn't like. Like, I'm not gonna name any names, but there were some classes that, like, they literally gave me a report card, and I don't like
Oh,
acting.
I think I know
Like,
which class you're talking about.
you probably do. They, like, grade you like it's school, and I was
Yeah.
like, even as as a young person, I was like, there's something about this that does not feel right. Like this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be about expressing. Like there is
Yeah.
no right and wrong. I just want to play kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I learned that pretty quickly that I didn't like that.
Mm.
But yeah, one thing that Lewis said that like I actually quoted recently that he always stuck with me. He always said, it's not the strong who survive, it's those that can adapt.
Mm.
And like I feel like that's just so true to life, to actors. Um, because even like as actors, you know, we can be so resilient and we can be so headstrong in our work, but we could prepare something, like we know we could prepare something and then show up to an audition or set and be so like confident about what we prepared. And yeah, it's great, but what if we can't take a note?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What if we can't connect to our scene partner and kind of like go with what they're giving us? Then
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have very lasting careers, or it's going to be really challenging for us, you know, on set. So I really like that he said that. I feel like that stuck with me a lot.
Nice. In high school now, so what was your involvement then when it came to the arts? Where did you go to an art school? Did you go to drama class? Did like where
Yeah.
was your artistic head in high school?
I grew up in Mississauga. Do you know where Are you? Yeah, you know where Mississauga is.
Yeah.
Okay, not many people would know.
What? That's no comment. No comment. But continue. Yes.
Wait, side question. Where did you grow up?
I'm a Scarborough kid. I'm Melbourne.
Oh, Rose. Okay, so you know
Yeah.
Mississauga. Okay,
I know. Yeah,
okay,
I know
yeah.
Mississauga. I am so upset with you. Oh,
So I grew up in Mississauga. I always wanted to go to Etobicoke School of the Arts. Like I went to the orientation, but it was so far. And like knowing myself and how I love to sleep, I was like, realistically, I'm not going to wake up every morning and take the bus here. So I auditioned for Cawthra, which is an art school. Um, and I got in for acting. I went one day. I went one day and I was like, no, I don't
hmm,
know. I was like, I'm not feeling it. Like, I'm not
yeah,
feeling it. It's still far from my house. All my friends went to Clarkson, where I ended up going. Clarkson's right across the street from my house.
that's funny.
Um, like my brother went there. I was like, I don't know. I feel like I should just go to Clarkson.
Yeah,
And especially because I was like taking acting classes outside of school. I'm like, I think I'll just I don't think I need to go to an art school. But the thing that sucked was drama class at Clarkson. I feel like that was the class that people took because they thought it was an easy class. So no one
that's
really took it
across
seriously.
the board. Any school, like even my high school, where I didn't take drama class, but everybody that I knew that was in drama class only took it because it was a bird course.
Yeah,
And like I remember walking past the drama class like whenever I'm in school and I look in and everybody's just fooling around. And I was like, these guys, no wonder this class is always full. So they just get the credit.
no, exactly. That was the same thing at my school. So I only took it in grade 9 and 10, and then I was like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
So I didn't really, besides the classes like on the weekends or in the evenings, I didn't really study in high school.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
So now after high school, um, now the ball's rolling. Like you're booking the bigger projects and everything. And then um which is Sacred Lies?
Yeah, Sacred
That was
Lies.
so would you say then that was like when the momentum started? Because I think that was like around the time when I was in LA as well, and that was like the one that was getting a lot of love because Facebook decided that they were gonna jump into the streaming game for a bit, and then Sacred Lies was their big push. So it's like,
Yeah.
what was your reaction to booking that, and then has that or was that a big stepping stone in shaping where you are now?
Yeah. It's interesting, like being from Canada, you know that like I feel like I had like two waves of momentum. There's like what you do in Canada And then when you make the move to the States, it's almost like starting from scratch in a way. Like I feel like I worked a lot in Canada,
Mm.
and I was like, wow, I feel like I'm a working actor here. I'm like having a really good career. And then when I got my first LA agent, it was like, oh, okay. I feel like I'm kind of like starting from zero in a way.
Mm.
Although I had all those experiences, but the way that it seemed like the US industry saw it was like, oh, she's new. She's like a new actor. And you
Yeah.
know what I mean? I was like, interesting, which probably gives us an advantage because we have so much experience from Canada that they don't really look at. So
Yeah.
for them considering us as new actors, they're probably like, wow, they're really good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think definitely Sacred Lives was the first project I booked in the States. It was the first project I booked with my agents, my LA agents, and I think that was definitely the start of everything that I've been doing as of late. Like I booked that, and even like character wise, I think that was the first character I got to do that really challenged me. Like I played a character named Angel who was in juvie. Um, her storyline was amazing, incredible. She was tried as an adult at 14 because she shot and killed her uncle who was sexually abusing her whole life. So I was like, it was just a lot to like um a lot to handle and work with as an actor
Mm.
in a good way, in a
Yeah.
really good way. So it was like really meaty and very artistically fulfilling, challenged me. It showed me that I could play something that's completely different from myself. And also being a woman, like I didn't wear any makeup on
Mm.
set. Like they kind of like actually gave me like a little bit darker to make me look kind of like a little bit more rough, but like that rarely happens as a
How,
girl. You're like,
what's the roughest like you would ever define yourself in your real life?
what do you mean? Like how I look?
Like in regards to your attitude, how rough can you get in real life?
I don't get very rough in real life. Like honestly, I don't. But I play a lot of tough characters. But
Mm.
in real life, I like don't really get mad. I get like if I get upset, I get really quiet and I just want to be by myself. You know, I get
Okay,
kind of like,
so here, like on the real, because
yeah,
I'm in the sibling category too. So, in regards
yeah.
to siblings now, okay, this isn't just you on the street with your friends being played. No, this is with your siblings. How hood can you get with your siblings? Like, do you have a tone? Do you ever hit your brother? Like, where does your head go?
I know you're not gonna believe me. I've never gone into a fight with my siblings.
Hmm,
I've
interesting.
never I've never gotten even into like a heated argument with my siblings. Like
Wow.
I think because I'm the middle child, I'm like
Oh, you're the
I'm definitely like the
non-confrontational.
peacemaker. Yeah, I don't like confrontation. I don't like
Gotcha.
when there's confrontation in our family. I'm like definitely the one who listens to all sides, the mediator, the peacemaker. So I think since I was a kid, I really just have that energy where I'm like, I'm not trying to add any fuels to the
Mm.
fire because like my family's passionate, you know, we like they're loud. So usually I'm the one that's like, okay, like making sure everyone's good. But like it's that's why like even playing that role in Sacred Lies, like I actually showed myself that I could do a role like that because
Mm.
and honestly I have to give credit where credit's due. I don't know if you ever studied with Sophie Ann Rooney.
Haven't, but I've all of her students I know.
Yeah, so Raw Acting Studios in Toronto, Sophie Ann Rooney. I still to this day believe that I booked Sacred Lies because of Sophie, like because of that class. She gave me Danny in the Deep Blue Sea to work with,
Yeah,
and she gave me Danny. So it was like a
nice.
gender swap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a gender swap, and for like 6 to 8 weeks, I worked on this character and developed like that, getting in touch with that, like you know, like masculine energy and voice work and animal work with that. And shortly after that class, I auditioned for Sacred Lies, and I
Hmm.
really feel that helped me so much. That class helped me a
Wow.
lot. But in my real life, I know. Maybe I feel like when I have kids, there's that's gonna be like my season in life where I'm like ready to throw down for these kids,
Nice.
or
Gotcha.
throw down these kids.
Yeah. That's where my head went, was like, oh yeah, no, she's gonna go mom mode, and when she's just
Yeah.
fed up, she's just gonna pin them down and tell them to listen. No, yeah, that's where my
Yeah.
head went.
That's when the hood's gonna come out when I have
That's
kids.
so
When I'm
funny. And then you got to revisit, I guess, that type of energy when you played Mo in Trinkets.
yeah. Yeah.
And then I feel like Fear Street was a combination of both. Is that accurate?
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where,
100%.
which is what I wanted to spend some time on too, with the whole Fear Street trilogy. Now, when you were growing up, were you big on Goosebumps? Like, did you care for that show when it was out? And what was going through your head when this opportunity presented itself, where it's like you're gonna work with R.L. Stein?
Yes. First, yes, I was a fan of Goosebumps, the show, and I had like a bunch of the books.
Oh
So
wow.
I really loved, yeah, I really love Goosebumps. When I auditioned for it, it said, I remember it said Fear Street. It wasn't like confidential, but I didn't really do, I was filming Trinkets at the time, and I didn't look too much into it. I was like, oh, cool. It's three movies, and I auditioned for like two different characters, and like one was Dina and one was Sarah, and I had to do like a British accent. And honestly, I saw 20th Century Fox, and I was like, ah, what a joke. I'm never gonna like, I'm not gonna get this. You know what I mean? Like, this is such a cool opportunity, but I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but I did see that Lee Janiak, our director, she was on the audition breakdown as the director, and I remembered I auditioned for this pilot for this Amazon show called Panic.
Mm,
And this was, so I auditioned for Fear Street November 2018. And that previous July, I believe, I auditioned for Panic, which Lee directed the pilot. And I auditioned for it. And then I got a call back, and my agents were like, the director's doing a session in New York. Do you want to fly yourself out? You get to meet the director. Like, that's might be like a good thing. And I was like, yeah, for sure. The flight was cheap. I think I had like a flight credit. So I flew out to New York just for the day. Like, I didn't spend the night. And I met Lee there. Didn't hear anything. Like, it wasn't like I didn't leave being like, oh, I'm gonna get this. But I was like, didn't really think much of it, you know?
mm.
Didn't hear anything about the pilot. But then when Fear Street came along, I was like, Lee Janiak, wait, I think I remember her. And so that connection was made.
Mm,
And I was like, oh, maybe she remembers me. Like, maybe this is gonna, give me like a little bit of a better shot. But
yeah.
turns out she told me that when she met me at that callback, she already had me in mind for the role for Fear Street.
Wow.
Yeah, she ended up telling me that like after I booked it.
Yeah.
But when I first got the audition, I was like, this is so cool. And I auditioned for Dune at the same time, and Lavelle was like, Dune. And I was like, yeah, but Fear Street.
Mm,
And
yeah.
he was like, what do you mean? Like, okay, let's say you book both. Like, I'm like, I would rather do Fear Street. Like, this is
Yeah.
so dope. Like, it's a
Yeah.
period thing, multiple characters. You know what I mean? So I was really excited. And yeah.
That's actually interesting too, because like I I'd reflect that sentiment where I would rather do Fear Street than Dune, because it was your childhood. Like
Yep.
that's that personal impact. So it's like I actually get a little jaded when I see reboots and then I hear interviews and like the person says that they had no idea like what it was, or to the original, or it's like they never knew about the original until they got the audition, and I'm like, these people don't deserve this opportunity. No, but it's funny. So it's like, yeah, no, Lavelle doesn't know anything. Why would you pick Dune over this? This is why I don't like him. No, I'm joking. I love him. So now that we're on the topic of Lavelle, um,
Yeah.
I'm curious where what is it like to, or how do you manage, or how do you make it work being an actor couple? Because
Mm,
you both are on different projects at different times. You guys are on other sides of the country, and it's long distance. And then it's like when you do get together, you guys are exhausted from all the filming and stuff. Where's the balance to make this actor couple work?
Yeah, that's a great question. In the last 2 years since the pandemic, we've spent a lot of time together. So that's been like a blessing, I'd say, because before that, we were definitely experiencing that. Whereas, like, I remember there was one time we were like 76-day countdown until we saw each other again. And I was like, man,
Wow.
that's a long time. Like, that's a long time. So we Skype and FaceTime, but I don't like it. I feel like it's like a tease. I'm like a physical person, you know. If I can't like it, and then you press off and you're alone in your room, I'm like, damn it, this
No.
is like worse than like not even being able to, you know what I mean?
Mm,
Oh, but we definitely have to prioritize our relationship. Otherwise, we can get so caught up in what we're doing, and then you kind of like lose sight of like your person. But that hasn't happened with us, I think, because we also we have a lot of fun together, and
mhm.
on top of our relationship, we're also best friends, which I know so many couples say is really important, but I feel like it is really important. It sounds like cliche, but I think there's a lot of value in that because I want to hang out with him. So if I do have free time, like I want to spend time with him, and I want to talk to him. I want to share things with him. So I think like making each other a priority is definitely key. And yeah, these pandemic times have allotted us a lot of time to share together. Sometimes like in the morning, I want to kill each other, but and you think about the times where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna miss you. I want to punch you, but I'm gonna miss you.
Is the rule of talking shop at home, is that you're allowed to talk shop or don't bring work home?
hmm we're definitely allowed, but I think I would say in a general sense, I feel like I feel like I'm talking more a lot of the times. Like so I've learned to kind of pick up on the vibe. If it's like not the vibe to really be talking about work, I think I've become really like perceptive to that. But for the most part, like we don't have a really like a hard rule like no work, but if it starts to become the only thing or like the thing we're talking about majority of the time, then
Mm,
we'll be like, okay, like what else is going on in our lives?
yeah,
Like we're not
yeah.
just actors. We like have to remind ourselves that.
And when that happens, it's all right. We need to take a vacation and just get away from it all and turn off. Yeah. Do you guys then have any desire to, or are you guys working on anything in regards to putting a project together?
Yeah, actually, Lavelle wrote an amazing script. Um, he's reworking the title right now, but it's like in its third draft, and
Mm,
I would be in it as well. So that's really exciting. I think that we're both kind of busy working on our projects right now, but when the time is right, we're going to put all of our energy into that and give it like a full push.
nice.
But yeah, but we didn't write it together. He wrote it. We haven't actually written anything together. Um, but I think definitely like at some point in the future, it's something that we do. Probably a comedy. That'd be fun.
Nice. So then, with respect to that question, you then are also eager to branch off into writing, directing, producing, or which one specifically?
That's a good question. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I know that I want to direct at some point,
Hmm.
but I don't think it would be something that I'm in, at least not in the beginning. But honestly, you know what my dream job on set would be? Steady cam operating.
Really?
Like yeah, like the steady cam, like I love it so much. I think it's such an art. Our
Hmm.
steady cam operator here street, his name's Nick Muller, and or Mueller, probably pronouncing it wrong, but he's like our age. He was a professional dancer. So seeing his feet and how light they were and the way he was so smooth and fluid and like just the things that we could do like with our shots because he was
Hmm.
so smooth on the cam, it felt
Yeah.
like we were dancing. We would
Yeah.
choreograph these things, and it was like, wow, I thought it was so beautiful. So I would love to like operate the steady cam one day. Maybe something when I direct, I can be like, okay, I'm gonna shoot this scene. That'd be
Hmm.
cool.
I was talking
Yeah.
to another actor, and we got into the discussion of when the camera is a shoulder shot and when it's
Mhm.
mounted and bless you, the the camera operator becomes another character in the scene. And it's fun getting to interact with that because us as the actors now, we have to also be conscious of where the camera is. So we have
Mhm.
our actor brain on, and then we have our character brain on at the same time. So now I think it's like the epitome of where our mental fortitude is at as actors is where we have to have two thoughts going on at the same time. And just so we can incorporate this other character that isn't written in the dialogue that we've studied.
Yep. Yeah.
So
It's challenging.
yeah.
It's definitely challenging, and like something that I think like we all have to learn, which is not what they teach you in class, right? Like you there's certain things you just don't learn until you get to set.
Yeah.
Like that. Like I've never been in an acting class where they've actually where I've experienced that, which might be cool to incorporate in a class. But at the same time, it's like it's never going to be the same as it is on set. Like
Mm,
yeah, there's so many things, and then like similar to what you're saying, like filming a horror like Fear Street, there were so many times where you're not even looking at another actor, you're looking at a mark on the map box because the shot's so close to the lens, and it's like a certain thing where you're hearing the line from off camera, but you're directing it at an X on the map box, but you have to be fully committed to speaking
mm,
to who you're speaking to, and don't look in the lens and don't see like the cameraman's there, and so many things where I'm like, it's like you just kind of have to like experience it, I guess, to really, really learn how to deal with it. But it's definitely a
yeah.
challenge. Yeah.
With the genre of Fear Street, especially, were you big on horrors growing up, or are you a horror person?
I like horror. I like horror, but then through doing the project, I've learned that some people are like real horror fans.
Yeah.
Like a good friend of mine, Alex, my co-star in Fear Street, Olivia, they are like they know everything, every horror, everything. So
Mm,
when at first I was like, yeah, I'm a horror fan, and then speaking to them, I'm like, I'm not really a horror fan. Like I like scary movies,
yeah.
but I don't really know too many. I don't really know all the classics.
Mm,
So, but I appreciate feeling scared.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
curious then now, what's your take and what's your opinion in regards to being the lead in a horror in regards to your energy? Because to the extreme of I look at Winona Ryder in Stranger Things, and I can't for the life of me understand how she maintained this level of what's the word, neurosis, where
Yeah.
she's just always in that state for that many episodes. So
Yeah.
for you now having to span that for three movies, what was it like getting to set and knowing that okay, I'm going to have to release a lot of amounts of adrenaline in my body when
Mhm.
I'm filming, and then what that did to you, if that affected you negatively, because like if you put yourself in a stressful situation for a long time, your body is going to hate you to some degree.
Yep.
Did you experience that as well? What was it like with Fear Street?
Yeah. Filming Fear Street was definitely exhausting. I'm so, so grateful that I don't have sleeping problems because I don't know how I would have been able to do it if I like couldn't fall asleep at night.
Mm,
So for the most part, I just made it like that was my life. We shot all three movies back to back to back. So for that time, I wasn't drinking alcohol, like doing anything like that. I was drinking a lot of water. I took my health very seriously. I was eating really healthily. I made sure I got a good sleep every night. And still, it was hard,
yeah.
So I can't imagine any other way. But um, there's so many being in that like kind of like intensity and it having to do the jump scares is what got me the most because there's so many even like in the movies like you turn a corner and like oh there's a character you got to do a jump scare for months after we wrapped Lavelle would like do something and I would like come out of the room and I would get really like jumpy, like really
Mm,
scared really easily. And I think that's kind of where it like manifested in my body. I was
Nice.
like, oh, this is weird. Yeah, I wasn't like that before, and now I'm not like that anymore. So it went away, but I think that's kind of how it showed up for me.
Hmm. And then
Yeah.
I was working on a project, and there was a scene where it's like essentially this guy's possessed by this demon, and he essentially is delivering this monologue covered in gore and blood, and then afterwards, like, it was a really profound effect on him, where he's like, afterwards, like, I am so hungry. Like, he went from this demonic guy, because the energy that it takes to just like embody this fear and this thing, it's like your entire body is in it. And he's like, I'm so hungry, and he literally got like 3 times the portion that he usually get at lunch, because that was just what his body was feeling after the scene. So
Yep.
what was your body doing, and how, like, what differences did you see in your body when having to do this character at this heightened energy for so long?
Hmm. Hmm. I know at the time I wasn't really working out that much. I didn't really have much time to be working out, but I don't know, honestly. I feel like I was just so like focused that I don't even know. Maybe my body was like doing things that I just like wasn't even present to, because I would just go to set and like shoot all day and like pretty much be in every scene, and then go home, look at my lines for the next day, eat, go to sleep, wake up, do the same kind of thing. So like I don't think I noticed at the time any kind of like extreme differences or anything like that. But
Mm,
I did notice I was really tired when we wrapped. When we wrapped the
mm.
whole thing, I was like, I felt so tired. Like I just needed to like do nothing
You
for
said it
a
was back to
while.
back to back, so how many days of shooting in a row?
So the whole shoot was 105 shooting days, I think.
Wow.
They shot all of my stuff first, so I'm not in the middle of movie two, because it's the story's being told to my character in the beginning and the end. So
Yeah.
we shot movie one, movie three, and then my parts of movie two, and then they
Mm.
went on to do the middle part of movie two. So I would say I was probably shooting like 80 shooting days, and I had 3 days off to fly to LA to do press for trinkets. Other
Is
than that, I
this
had
is
no
this
off.
Monday to Sunday, or just Monday to Friday weekends off?
Monday to Friday weekends off.
Okay.
Thank God.
Yeah, yeah. And then did Fear Street then lead into the convention route as well?
Yes, yeah, I did. I got
What's
introduced.
convention like for you?
I'm yet to do an in-person one because of COVID.
Oh yeah.
They've all been virtual, which um I can't imagine what an in-person one would be. I'm supposed to be doing an in-person one. Hopefully it stays, but so far so good, in Atlanta in September, and I'm really excited for that. It's actually like a Fear Street convention.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, so that should be really cool. But I've been doing virtual ones, and it's really cool, honestly, to be able to connect with fans, even if it's just through a screen. It's different than receiving comments or DMs.
Hmm.
Like you actually get to see people in their space, in their home, and have conversations with them. And I'm actually, yeah, I think they're pretty cool. Like I didn't know what to expect,
Hmm.
and I really enjoy them. They're cool.
Yeah. What was your
Yeah.
then take on them from before, in regards to even before, um like before Sacred Lies even, where what
Yeah.
was your take on the convention world? Were you involved in it at any degree?
No, I wasn't. The first time I went to Comic-Con for Sacred Lies, but we weren't in the convention center. We had an escape room like off to the side. And
Hmm.
it kind of felt like a elite thing where I was like, oh, in the convention center, like only the top people, you know what I mean? I was like, we're not there yet. But
Yeah.
I thought it was like really cool, but it's felt like something I probably would never, like I'd never get the chance to do.
Hmm.
And but it felt almost like, I don't know, I think it's cool. Like I wasn't really involved with any before, but it seemed like this like thing that only like really cool people got to do.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So funny. Yeah, no, it's like, but it's true because conventions are just like how you said how Netflix has whatever way to make um a movie like a hit, where
Mhm.
conventions were only for movies that were hits, essentially. Where it's like if
Yeah.
you made it to the convention route, you got something. You're a part of something.
Mhm. Yeah,
So yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
no,
It's
that's
cool
so.
to see people all over the world, like pay to want to come and support you. And I'm like,
Mm,
it's like we're talking about with Instagram, right? It doesn't feel tangible, but then when you see a person, you're like, oh my gosh, you're real.
yeah, yeah.
Real people behind those accounts.
Has has it hit yet in regards to that emotion of being that person that people are watching and saying that, oh, because of you, I want to do this? Has it sunk in yet that you're that person that people are seeing?
I think honestly, those conventions have really helped that sink in for me because otherwise I like read it on Instagram and it's hard for that to like sink in. Like I have to really try to be like read if I read comments, which I like don't read a lot of the comments for reasons like we spoke of earlier,
Hmm.
like not all of them positive. I have to really like breathe in the things that I read. And that can be tricky because sometimes you don't want to breathe in certain things because they could be harmful to your
Yeah,
spirit. So in the conventions, like thankfully everyone that I've met through the conventions has been there because they're supportive and they're positive. So I think that every time I leave a convention, I like talk to my parents and I'm like, yeah, this person said that like now they want to be an actor because of me and they felt really represented on screen because of me. And I in those moments I actually like take it in and I feel like, wow, this is the reason why I really love to do what we do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh no, that's so great. That's so fun. But
Yeah.
I just want to keep talking more because I want to get into so many other facets of like entertainment in regards to your opinion on where it's going and what do you want to do and what things are down the line. But we're Lavelle would get mad that I would have given you more time. So I gotta,
Do another one.
yeah, no, let's definitely do another one. But in the meantime, I just want to say again, thank you so much for coming out and lending your time and sharing your wisdom and your thoughts. And I definitely hope that we can do this again.
Thank you, Xavier. Thank you. It was honestly so nice talking to you. I hope your generator's all good. You gotta let me
Oh
know.
man, I genuinely forgot
I'm
about that for a second, but thanks for reminding me.
sorry. Yeah.
But everybody, thanks for tuning in. 2 Degrees Podcast brought to you by the
Thank
Play
you.
On Foundation. Kiana Madeira, check out everything that she's doing. And don't forget, if you haven't seen it yet, Fear Street on Netflix. If you're looking for a good, I don't even know how to classify it other than like a good horror, because I don't think they've really made them like that in a while. Because you actually show the gruesome killing parts,
Yep.
like when I want to say it was a bread slicer. Was that?
Yep.
Yeah. Like they showed it,
Yep.
and I remember I was like, oh, it's that kind of movie. Okay, all right, let's. They like,
I know.
it's like they could have just, oh, it's going to the slicer, and then just
Yep.
blood splat. But no,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you're looking for a good horror flick, definitely check that out. But other than that, thank you again, Kiana, for coming out. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.